Alpha Sessions.
Welcome to Alpha Sessions. I'm Gigi Harland, and today I have a very special guest with me, Mattisse. Welcome. How's it going today?
It's actually pretty good actually. My nerves calmed down and everything, and yeah, I'm feeling really good. The weather is hot as hell, I'm not gonna lie.
The sun shines out.
Yeah, I came in here and I'm just kind of, you know, when it's so hot and then you just kind of think, I really hope I don't smell, because especially when you're meeting someone for the first time, it's they're gonna think I smell all the time.
Yeah, they're gonna think this is my state of being, and I have to make them know this is a once in a, which then just makes it even more suspicious.
I've been in pretty bad situations of heat and sweat though. I remember recording in the studio with my backing band back in Brighton, and it was I think it was 6 hours, and it was in this studio which was once a conservatory, and it was during the heat wave about 2 years ago, you know, that really bad one. And we were just stuck inside going
just heaving.
Yeah, and the whole thing was being filmed as well, so you could see the sweat coming down.
Kind of lends itself to the vibe, maybe, ramps up the intensity a few notches. It's for artistic effect, if you want. I think the sun beaming down on us really lends itself to the first track that you're going to play for us, which I had the joy of listening to the full song version on the way here. I played it on the tube about 20 times. So your last, I'm probably up to your last 20, 30 streams are probably all me. And it just started the day off on such a high note. It's full of energy. It's got a driving beat. It's got the most unique, confident, powerful vocal delivery I've heard in quite some time. Can you tell us a little bit about where the seed of that song came from and how that delivery came to you also?
Yeah, I mean, I get so many misconceptions about this song because of the title. So obviously you look at that and you're like, oh, she's into some dark magic things. I'm into magic a lot, but it's not it's not like that. So 666 is actually I believe it to be an angelic number. So obviously a lot of people tie it with the bad guy downstairs. I don't tie it to that. So different angel numbers have different meanings, and if you see them a lot, if it's really prominent, I'm seeing 222 a lot, or 333. It has a message from your angels to tell you this is what you need to be working on right now. And at the time, I was seeing 666 or double sixes everywhere, and I thought, because I wasn't educated on this at the time, so I was thinking, this is the beginning of every horror movie ever. And I was getting mega paranoid. I'm just am I gonna die? What's gonna happen?
Yeah. Of course. Any minute now, I'll be in a car with a group of my friends, and I'll be the one that makes the break for the creepy shed.
Why does anyone
do it?
Yeah, I had just moved to London as well from Brighton, so obviously my nerves were already way up high, and to see 666, you're now things are getting bad.
This is not the omen that you want.
But yeah, apparently, so I searched it up, and apparently it's a message from your angels to tell you you've been way too caught up with material wealth and your career, and you're losing sight of what actually matters and what needs your attention, which is closure on relationships that have arguments, or your friends and your family, helping those in need that you can help. And yeah, at the time I was really caught in my career, and it was just I mean, it's easy to do that in your 20s, where you get in the headspace, well, in your 20s as a woman as well. It's easy to lose control because you need to be so delved in your career to succeed that you start putting off meetups with friends. You start letting friendships drift apart and everything because you have to get your head in it so much in order to just get to any point, really.
Well, it's also the life experiences that mean you have things to write about as well. I had this very similar thing. I just got to a point where basically I think so much of my time up until 30 I just spent being completely obsessed with music and making music and songwriting, and then as I was getting towards late 20s, I was just hang on, I need I need experiences to fill me up enough so that I have things to write about, because you can't just write about being an artist forever and ever, like solely. You need, like, I don't know, whether it's conversations come into it, like conversations with friends or people that you meet, experiences that you have. These are all part of the puzzle.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, yeah, I mean, it's just, like I said, it's just easy to do, and especially as a musician as well. And like you said, you need those life experiences to write about. But obviously, like, when you get to, like, maybe, like, when I get to maybe 70 years old, I want to look back and be like, that girl was crazy. She did some really wild stuff, and she wrote some good songs about it. I'm not going to be able to write a song like, this one time I did a gig to the same people, and, like, you know, it's not going to sound like a good song.
Yeah, you want to have some good stories. Good stories. Is kind of the storytelling aspect of music something that you've always been, like, really drawn to? Like, what kind of artists do you listen to in terms of, like, inspiration?
It's really weird, because, like, when I show people my music, they think I'm going to say that I listen to artists which are definitely not, like, what I actually listen to. I actually have, like, a very, like a dad at a barbecue sort of playlist. You know, like the dad at a barbecue who's just like, I'm going to show that I'm a cool guy in front of my, like, teenage daughter's friends. So I'm going to put on, like, some Jimi Hendrix and, like, some Ray Charles.
Oh my God.
Back in my day, we were doing, like, this dance move, and you're sat there like, oh my God, Dad, shut up.
I'm not a regular dad. I'm a cool dad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like a 27-year-old woman with, like, a barbecue dad's playlist. However, put me in the gym, and then suddenly I'm playing the Cheetah Girls and, like, High School Musical.
Epic.
Yeah. I have a very obscure taste in music. But yeah, I guess they all kind of tell a story. Like, thinking about those old artists like Ray Charles and Aretha Franklin, like, it all had a story and a message to tell. I'm not going to say, like, you know, we've lost it now and this new generation or nothing, because I feel like stories are still being told now, just in a different form.
Yeah. The industry's changed a lot since those days as well, which we'll get on to in a moment. But I had another question for you about this next track. So the lyrics just ooze personality, as does the delivery, which is, to my ears anyway, equal parts kind of punk as it is pop.
Oh, thank you so much.
I'm glad I'm on the right lines.
Yeah.
There's a lyric in it which is like, if I'm a hag, then I'm a hag. Like, is drag a scene that you've been part of, or that has had an influence on you as a performer? Or
I actually used to perform a lot of drag gigs when I was in Brighton, and it was like where most of my gigs were coming from, because, like, for my gigs I always want to, like, dress up and sort of, like, play around with aesthetics and characters and, like you said, storytelling. And I really found that, like, the most uplifting gigs I ever did were with drag queens. And it felt a lot less like you were doing, like, a professional gig. I mean, obviously it was professional, but it felt a lot less like that, and more like you were hanging out with these really, really cool drag queens. And yeah, it's like, I really suggest this to, like, any artist to do a drag gig, because they not only teach you that, like, it's okay to step out of your comfort zone and explore new artistic ways and new aesthetics and everything, but the heckling you can sometimes get from audiences, they know how to clap back. And now it's just carried with me, especially in London. Like, it gives you a whole new boost of confidence, because when you can, like, say something very witty back, the audience then fear you, and it's like, it is a massive confidence boost.
And also, you have the mic and they don't.
Yeah,
as
exactly.
Well. So it's just like you have, like, double whammy, and if you can kind of bend that, like, to your favor through, like, just being, like, whip sharp, like, off the mark, then you're kind of safe. Have you found, so you moved from Brighton to London, like, how did you find the transition, like, and how do you find the scene here?
It was actually, I mean, in Brighton, I feel like the gigging scene is a lot bigger there. Like, everyone goes to live gigs a lot more in Brighton than they do in London. But, I mean, that's basically all down to the fact that Brighton is smaller, it's easier to get to.
Sure.
Also, just the fact that everyone is, like, constantly working in London. I feel like London is more driven towards, like, just working. But, I mean, I guess you've got to pay your rent.
Yeah,
so, like,
sure.
Yeah, I feel like London, like looking at the night scene, I would do some gigs like in centre of London, and I would be like, this is Saturday night. Where is everybody?
I feel you.
Places are closing down at 11 p.m. What is going on?
It's weird. It's really weird.
Crazy.
I've lived here for years and it still surprises me. Every time I'm out and I'm like, wait, it's Friday night and it's 11 o'clock. And I mean, I'm not the biggest, like, partier. I'm kind of, especially now, like more of a like homebody. Like I am really happy hanging out at home with like my favorite people, but if I'm out doing a gig, it's weird. It's weird. And you go to a lot of smaller cities like Brighton or Bristol or Manchester, and maybe just because it's more compact, people just tend to stay out later because they haven't got like an hour to go home or whatever.
And transport as well. In Brighton, like I feel like transport is a lot better because like if you're taking a tube back home, it'll possibly stop within like 1 a.m. or 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Brighton, like transport goes on until like 4 o'clock or like 4:30 in the morning. Mm-hmm. So you can stay out, go to a gig and not fear like how am I getting home? How am I getting home safe? Because, yeah, like, I mean, like, I've had my fair share of nights in London where I'm just terrified because you're like, how am I getting home? I don't want, like, the worst to happen to me because I'm in central London.
Sure.
Yeah, fully transport a lot safer in Brighton than it is in London. Yeah, like, people just go to a lot more live gigs and everything in Brighton.
Yeah, the groundwork's kind of there to nurture the live scene more so maybe than it is here.
I mean, it does have its downsides. I like because obviously there's a reason as to why I moved to London. I think you've got more of an opportunity to progress in your career in London than you do in Brighton.
Right.
Brighton, I feel like, is a place for finding yourself and finding out who you are artistically and like breaking out of the box. But London is the place where you can actually make progress because I feel like when I was gigging in Brighton, I was just gigging in the same places to the same people.
Sure.
And I wasn't really getting anywhere. And then suddenly I come to London and I'm meeting all of these different musicians. I'm going to all these different bars and everything. My social media, like I've got way more followers now. And like I've got contacts to different labels and so many people in the industry that you can connect with.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Brighton's just more of your discover place.
Yeah, it's a bit more of, so you found it was a bit more kind of a chrysalis that people kind of emerge from when they are kind of ready to like, what's a different metaphor I guess, but like fly the nest as it were. Amazing. Well, we're going to hear that amazing track. So this is 666 by LA Mattisse.
Talking to the San Francisco, picking up this show to manifest the best for your good. Get it up and move on down so you can douse all around and get the sound wound up in your wood. I was shaking to the ghost with the most, taking Ouija to Fiji, talking to the deity, crushing crystals and shaking to the radio Shinto, taking tokes of the holy smoke sand. I've been possessed with the pose, gold teeth and jet plastic souls. And I'm changing my shame and taste in this game. I give my legacy or serving all with blessed to be. When the wildfire's running free, you'll see the sunshine finally. I've been thinking about the right time. I've been thinking about the right lines to take your blues away. Till the sky is burning bright, I'll bring you things to sing tonight. I find kindness in mine to strengthen your soul. I find kindness possession of material. Oh, check the savage to break the bad habit, back it up, bringing bones to the stones of the old chateau. Was the hangman playing in plans, and the empress stands when the man of the planet can drag it. I'm a hag with a plan, a coven and a couple of madmen to burn the flag. I've been possessed with the pose, gold teeth and jet plastic souls. And I'm changing my shame and days in this game. I give my legacy, oh, serving up with blessed be, oh, when the wildfire's running free, you'll see the sunshine finally, oh. I've been thinking about the right time, I've been thinking about the right lines to take your blues away, till the sky is burning bright. I'll bring things to sing tonight. I find kindness in mind to strengthen your soul. I find kindness in mind to strengthen your soul. You'll see the magic in the smoke, to be erratic and in vogue, exposing the system that already been broken, using the wisdom from my home. You'll see the magic in the smoke, to be erratic and in vogue, exposing the system that already been broken, using the wisdom from my home. I give my legacy, oh, serving all with blessed be, oh, when the wildfire's running free, you'll see the sunshine finally, oh. I've been thinking about the right time, I've been thinking about the right lines to take your blues away, till the sky is burning bright, oh, bring things to sing tonight. I find kindness in mind to strengthen your soul. I find kindness in mind to strengthen your soul.
The Alpha Sessions.
What a treat. That was 666 by LA Mattisse. Really unusual name, by the way, and I love it. And I think we were having a chat off air. I feel like as soon as I heard it, it sounded like it could be like a character from like a Wes Anderson film or something.
Yeah, that was like the biggest compliment I think I've ever had about my name.
I think it's pretty epic. But where does it come from? Is it part of your actual full name, or is it like from a book, or where did you find it?
It's my name. So my name is Liberty Anastasia Mattisse. Yeah, a lot of people think that I'm like a drag queen or something just by like saying, hey, I'm Liberty Anastasia Matisse. It's right. A bit extravagant. So I was just like, I mean, what did my parents really think I was going to become?
Probably sounds epic because it is epic. So it sounds like something that would be like in a drag queen show. I think I read on your Spotify bio, it was like when you chose your name, like people didn't know whether you were a SoundCloud rapper or a drag queen, so you became both.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. Brilliant. Well, the next track you're going to play for us in a little bit is called High Priestess.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about that? Because that's not released yet.
It's not, no. So it's actually like a whole project I was working on, funnily enough, like in Brighton. It was a whole album dedicated to the tarot cards in the major arcana. So each card had a song to it. Because I feel like I can fall into the same trap of just like, I can fall in the trap of writing about the same things. So I was like, I really need to expand on what I'm writing about. So I was learning about tarot cards, and I felt like that was a good way to tell different stories with it, because yeah, it's just exploring different emotions, different like obstacles you're going through. And the High Priestess, I was getting a bit like towards like I think I was getting that towards lockdown, but I think that's because I was feeling a lot better about myself and feeling more content with myself because I'm naturally an introvert. So yeah, I was having the time of my life. I was on furlough as well, so that was pretty good for me. But yeah, High Priestess, it's basically about being very content with your own company. It's a fairly intuitive card as well. It's like, yeah, it's about like just being intuitive and feeling good about yourself, and yeah, just like you don't necessarily need to work on pleasing other people because you have the faith that it doesn't matter if you don't, you know?
I think in the industry we're in, it's so easy to focus on the not only how people receive you, but also just the outcome of what you're creating anyway, which usually links to audience reception. And then in doing that, you kind of end up losing yourself, and in turn, the world also loses you because they don't get the, like, if you really embody like everything that feels intuitively right for you, then you'll express yourself completely uniquely, and only you see things through your particular lens. And by not doing that, you kind of rob the world of that. So it's like, not only I think is it better for your mental health if you do that, but it's also kind of the best thing you can do, like for your audience as well. And it also gives other people permission to be themselves fully.
Definitely.
Also.
Yeah. I mean, a whole bunch of musicians, actors, artists in general. Like, I feel like a lot of our career is dependent on pleasing other people. And then because you're so delved into it, you can really put that to your own personality, and it's so toxic because then it's just like, am I saying the right thing? Am I hanging out with the right people? If I don't go to this party, will I miss out on my big shot of meeting that one person that can get me into this part of the industry? And it's like, you're kind of, it's a really weird career because I've never heard any other career that is like that. Like, you don't become, like, let's say you don't become an accountant and think, if I don't go to this party, will I make rent?
Yeah, for sure. I think entertainment especially, like, I really feel for actors a lot of the time as well, because you're not an actor's, well, if you're not writing your own scripts or plays or whatever, it's like you really are, like, your fate is tied with other people, whether you like it or not. A musician, I feel like you have slightly more agency over your direction. But it's a tricky vibe at the moment, especially with like social media being the way it is. It's all about, like, especially if you're working with labels, if numbers aren't coming back the way that you want. I mean, how do you have any like little tools that you use to try and keep yourself like grounded? Like, do you meditate, do you journal, or is it just being at home for you kind of keeps you grounded? And
well, what I've been doing recently is turning to different forms of art and just like not really reminding myself that it's not so much of a product as it is self-expression. Because I think if you view your music as just a product to sell, you then become very self-critical of yourself, and you get into that headspace of needing to please people all the time. So I think grounding myself, what I do is I just try other forms of art that I know aren't going to be my career, and then it just reminds me of what music really is, and it's just another form of art for me. It's like you're kind of flexing the same muscle but without the pressure attached to it. Yes, exactly. I think I heard like Tom York said he does something very similar, is that do you know an artist called Bat for Lashes? I don't know. Brilliant. Might be your vibe, but I'd give her a go. Like, she's really into characters and themes and making everything really immersive. But Tom York's advice to her on when she was having a lot of writer's block, because I think there was a lot of external expectations on her, was that he just goes and draws. And he just, like, he draws sometimes while listening to music, but that it allows that part of his brain to open without any outcome being attached to it at all. And then he'll go back to the song a few hours later and he'll just know what to do with it. So I vibe with that completely. Amazing. Well, we're gonna hear that next track, and it's called High Priestess by LA Mattisse.
All my friends are naked, the pool. And I can't help but feel like a fool. Oh, midnight, I disappear without a trace. I'm not insecure in this space. I just wanna be blinded by smoke in my face. 'Cause I'm the high priestess who can't afford a crowd. I won't dramatize, I wanna wind down. Yeah, I'm the high priestess who can't afford a crowd. I won't dramatize, I wanna wind down. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, small talk bothers me like I'm missing something. Oh, the confidence in others feels a little overpowering. I tape all the smoke alarms in my flight. It's just me and my smokes, and baby, that is that. I better off with my homegrown in my own habitat. High priestess who can't afford a crowd. I won't traumatize, I won't wind down. Yeah, I'm the high priestess who can't afford a crowd. I won't dramatize, I wanna wind down. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, I'm content with my company. Give me my Dawn Hathaway. Oh, I'm content with my company. Give me my Dawn Hathaway. Ooh, I'm content with my company. Give me my Dawn Hathaway. Oh, I'm content with my company. Give me my Dawn Hathaway. I'm the high priestess who can't afford a crown. I won't dramatize, I won't wind down. Yeah, I'm the high priestess who can't afford a crown. I won't dramatize, I wanna wind down. Oh, 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 oh.
The Alpha Sessions.
Welcome back, guys. This is Gigi Harland, and I'm on with LA Mattisse.
Hey.
Of that fantastic track, High Priestess, about the joys of FOMO, or complete lack of, by the sound of it, and just being very comfortable, being in your space with your home comforts, and happy in your own company.
Just an old grandma inside, I really.
Has that been a forever thing for you? Like, have you always been? You strike me as the kind of person that is very much like in her own lane and kind of in her own identity. And as much as, like, I'm sure, like, we all do, you have whisperings of FOMO and like of being afraid of missing the boat, but ultimately you seem like you're pretty grounded.
I mean, I just like putting myself in comfortable situations. That's
right.
all. But yeah, I think like I've naturally like always put myself into the box of being an introvert. But then I found that like I got like this really cool advice from one of the parents I used to nanny, and like one of the parents said, you know, if you put the label introvert on yourself, you'll just believe it more and more, and then you'll become more of an introvert. But if you feel like you need to be more extroverted, just stop putting the label on yourself and then just be like, I do need to start going out more. And don't tell yourself that you're forcing yourself to go out.
Yeah.
Give yourself a goal that you want to see when you're out there. Give yourself something that you want to do. It really helped me, because I did fall in the trap of saying, oh, I'm an introvert. And then I just naturally didn't go to parties. I didn't talk to anyone.
Yeah, it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy, and then also kind of a bit of a thing to hide behind as well, and then the story just keeps reinforcing itself. So you've kind of got like this cycle that continues. Yeah, that's solid advice. Solid advice. Did you find that kind of an easy thing to just kind of move through? Or
like I'm one person that just doesn't like change. I don't know why, but it's just a weird thing with me.
You got any earth sign? I feel earth sign astrology.
Oh my God, I'm so glad you said that. I'm a Taurus moon. So yeah, that is it.
There we go.
I'm actually an Aquarius as well. So it's like I've got very conflicting things going on in my brain.
This makes sense. Just getting to know you today, this all kind of completely makes sense. At the same time, at the risk of it all sounding like a reinforced story, no. Like you sound like you've moved through it really well.
Yeah. The real kicker though is do you know about rising signs as well? Do you know like the whole thing?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm into it.
So
for astrology heads, we're about to go in.
We're about to go in a hole.
Apologies if you're not.
So I'm an Aquarius sun, Taurus moon, and a Leo rising.
Right.
It's like all opposite signs. And like I also have ADHD, so that so explains everything.
Yeah. It's quite a cocktail. You got a lot going on.
Quite a cocktail of like voices going on inside your head. Not like literally. I'm like
I feel like the archetypes with astrology is so even if you're not into it per se, it's kind of like I find tarot very similar in that you can use. There's archetypes, there are characters, there are themes that you can use as prompts or directives or just like questions you can ask yourself about how you think of those archetypes, like because your interpretation of what a high priestess is might be different to mine or somebody else's, and there's no well, some people are probably going to come for me if I say there's no strict right or wrong. I know there's a right and wrong, but like there doesn't have to be. I think it's just like you make it work for you. Is that how you kind of, because you're learning about kind of esoteric art forms and things like with astrology and tarot, do you ever use it in your creative process? Does it help?
I mean, I did for my project, writing a song for each tarot card.
I guess high priestess,
yeah. But yeah, with astrology I did as well, because I started focusing on the fact that like each one was basically an archetype of a different personality, and I was thinking, if I was inside the head of a Scorpio, what would I be doing in this situation? And I was just kind of like, that is like, because that's the opposite to any of my signs. So I'm like, if I don't think like that whatsoever, I don't think about revenge. I just kind of think if you've done me wrong and if I feel negative thoughts towards you, I just don't want you in my life. I'm going to ignore you. But the Scorpio would be like, no, I need to have revenge. They need to suffer the consequences.
It's a good way of putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, and you kind of have this kind of blueprint of like characteristics that you can use. I think they're really cool, like creative devices as well. You can, like you say, you can build a whole character around like what you think a Sagittarius rising would do in this situation.
That's why we get on. Oh my God. So I get on really well with Sagittarius women. Like it's a whole thing.
I'm an Aquarius moon as well, y'all.
Oh my God.
There you go.
That makes so much sense now.
It all makes sense. Don't you just love it as well when Mercury's in retrograde and you just blame all your lack of organisation on that for 2 weeks and then it's gone and you're like, no,
I've got nothing to blame now. Things are just going wrong.
Anyway, for the non-astrology heads, I'm sorry, who digressed a little bit there.
My partner's like, I'm pretty sure my partner's sick of it by now. I'm just like, Mercury's in retrograde, so try and allow yourself some extra time when you go on the tube because things are probably going to go wrong.
You're going to sign the wrong thing. Like,
yes.
I would encourage, even if you say you're not like into... Even if you don't believe in that kind of stuff per se, I would really recommend people looking into the characteristics of the different signs, because I just think it's so interesting, and the mythology behind a lot of it is amazing. So a lot of it is obviously rooted in like Greek mythology, and those stories are wild. We have to chat more about this off air.
We do.
But lastly, we're going to hear you do a cover. And this is going to be Gino by Dexy's Midnight Runners.
Yes.
Eddie, is this like a special fave or?
It's got to be my favorite one of theirs. I mean, like, I'm a massive ska fan. Just a massive Northern Soul fan. I absolutely just love the comfort, but also like it's that perfect balance of comfort and that sort of high energy sort of dance sort of thing, but also it's like the lyrics are just so beautiful. It's very, you know, I will lay my heart out for you, and it's so romantic. So it just blends everything together, and it's so well balanced, and I love it so much. So yeah, I like this one. Has to be my favorite one of Dexy's Midnight Runners. But I always say, like, if I had a backing band, like if you had the whole budget to do everything, you had the whole backing band, the big stage and everything, what song would you do? And I genuinely think I would do Gino by Dexy's Midnight Runners.
Back in 68 in a sweaty club, oh Gino, before Jimmy's machine and the rock steady rock. Oh, Gino, on a night where flowers didn't suit my shoes. After a week of flunking, bunking schools, the lowest head in the crowd that night, just practicing steps and keeping out of the fight. Academic inspiration, oh, you gave me 9. You were my code lover, fire that wine. Oh, now just look at me as I'm looking down at you. Oh, I'm not being flash, it's what I'm built to do. Whoa, Gino, this man took the stage and his tower swinging high. Oh, Gino, this man was my bombers, my Dexys, my eye. Oh, Gino, and the crowd, they all hailed you and chanted your name. They never knew like I do. Me and you were the same. I like here all over. Your song is so tame. Boy, you fed me and bred me. I remember your name. Academic inspiration, oh, you gave me 9. You were my code lover, fire that wine. Oh, now just look at me as I'm looking down at you. Oh, I'm not being flash, it's what I'm built to do. Oh, Gino, yeah. Oh, Gino. Oh, Gino. Oh, oh, Gino. Oh, Gino, yeah. Oh, Gino. Oh, Gino.
The Alpha Sessions.
Welcome back, guys. I'm Gigi Harland, and I'm in the studio today with LA Mattisse, who just gave us an amazing rendition of Gino by Dexy's Midnight Runners. I often find when artists do cover versions, it really gives you a chance to get a flavour of their particular artistry, and sometimes even more so than when you're listening to their original music, which sounds really weird. But I think artistically, in terms of how they choose to articulate things and how they choose to express things, it really gives you, and how they make something their own, gives you a really cool window into what kind of makes them them. And the main things that I pick up from you is you have such a unique articulation in your vocal style, and your personality just oozes out of every note. And I can hear like it's kind of very free form way that like a lot of the jazz greats would sing, in like how you articulate certain words and how you use your voice like almost as its own instrument as opposed to something that's purely just communicating lyrics. But then, like we were saying before, when you go back to your first track, if you listen to the Spotify version, it's got an almost sort of really raw punk feeling. Yeah. Is that kind of the music that you grew up like listening to as well as your mum and dad's like record collection? And
I mean, like, yeah, my mum would play like a lot of Prodigy. I'm not gonna
cool.
She had like my dad and my mum's taste in music was very different. But like still like my favorite songs to this day. So yeah, my dad listened to a lot of jazz and a lot of like classic rock, like Jimi Hendrix, like AC/DC, that sort of stuff, and Led Zeppelin. And then my mum would be more driven towards like Blondie, Prodigy, the Smiths, The Cure. And yeah, I suppose that's all just kind of like blended into one thing.
Yeah.
Which I love, like, because it does. Whenever people ask me what genre of music do you play, before I show them 666, I'm just like, I don't know what to label that as, really.
Yeah, it's definitely like in its own lane, but it still sounds like it fits you. Like it still that to me still makes complete sense, like listening to it. Did you find that being an artist that sounds so different, was that always a road that you felt quite comfortable sticking in, or did you ever feel any pressure to sort of like bend towards what was popular or go completely the other way and go for something completely underground? Or have you always just been like, this is what I do?
Thank you.
That's it. I try to get some good questions.
I did, yeah. So when I went into university, because I was studying vocals, and I was surrounded by all these different vocalists who were doing more mainstream stuff, I fell into that headspace where you were like, oh, I'm so different from everybody. I'm not fitting in. And because you're very young, you're still sort of looking to be a people pleaser and looking to fit in because you haven't quite shifted that way of thinking of being like, I should be proud of what makes me different. So yeah, I was like changing my voice. I was doing a bunch of things to try and make myself sound a lot lighter because a lot of the girls around me just didn't want to be, well, they did want to be those powerhouses, but not in the same way that I was. So I like to like shift around with different styles, like growling, and I'm quite gritty as well. But yeah, every other girl around me was doing like pop and like folksy sort of stuff. And whilst that's all great, like I'm not talking down on it at all. I think it's pop songs and folk songs are beautiful, but it's just not me.
Right.
And yeah, I'd say like for a whole chunk of my early 20s, I was trying to be a lot more like them because I didn't appreciate the fact that I am an artist. And surely if you are different from everybody, that's a good thing. Because you don't want to listen to someone who sounds identical to Adele because you've got Adele. Yeah. So why would you want to do that?
Yeah. Adele can do Adele. There's that saying, isn't there? Is like, be yourself because everybody else is taken.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah. Well, like, power to you. And like power to you for also being so real about it and saying and like sharing that as well. Because that's some honesty that I'm here for that you don't always see with a lot of artists. That's amazing. For our last little segment before we close out, we're going to pull a tarot card. These are actually my oracle cards. So if you want to give these a little shuffle, pull one and just tell me the first thing that resonates with you. Or if it means anything, if it conjures anything.
I usually just like shuffle them and wait for like the first one to kind of pop out.
That's how my boyfriend does it. Yeah.
Exchanging gifts.
Oh.
Ooh. Am I going to get a gift? Are you guys going to give me something?
Yeah, we got gifts. I feel like you just exchanged a gift with us today.
Yeah, because I pulled out a similar tarot card to like there's this morning. So you know was it Six of Pentacles? It's like literally the gift giving card. So that is really, really weirding me
There
out.
you go. Maybe there's gonna be something waiting for you when you get home.
Oh please, I would love it. Oh my God. And there's a cat there as well. And I've been saying for the longest time, I want to get myself a cat. So yeah, if my partner comes home with a cat, that'll be
epic. Well, we want to hear about it if it does. Like, tag us in stories afterwards, be like, Alpha Sessions, what did you do? If it's a small kind of leopard type thing, I mean, even better.
Yo, you know what's weird actually? I didn't even mention this. So my partner's name is Arthur, but the thing is, like, the landlord misheard us when we were introducing ourselves. So he thought my partner's name was Alpha instead of Arthur. So he saved on the group chat as Alpha, and I was like, I should probably correct them, but he said no, stop, because now they think I'm an alpha, and that's really cool.
Yeah, at least now you won't get landlords like inviting themselves around with like an hour's notice or whatever, because they'll have to deal with Alpha.
Can you imagine that though? Welcome to the home of liberty and the Alpha. It's like I don't know if I want to enter that home. I feel quite intimidated.
Yeah, Alpha Mattisse, the band.
Oh my God, yes.
Mattisse and the Alpha. My brain's just going mad with suggestions. But on that note, we will close out. Thanks so much for listening, guys. This is Gigi Harland on Alpha Sessions with LA Mattisse.
Thanks for having me. Oh my God, I had so much fun.
The Alpha Sessions.